There's countless times throughout history where the human spirit has proved to be one of the most resilient things in this world. People have pushed through immense pain, they've found solutions to impossible problems, and they've done all they possibly could to conquer and be the victor. Unfortunately, this was not the case January 28th of 1986 when 7 astronauts lost their life. It was a very unfortunate incident, but what was more unfortunate is that it was known that there was a great potential of happening. I'm going to cover some of the delays and structural design flaws that had led up to the mission of 1986 and really explain why didn't they just take a step back? Why? I don't know. The very first one I came across was actually in 1977. Theo Cole was one of the engineers, and he had actually found a design flaw with the O-rings, seeing that they were eroding. He actually let upper management know this, that a redesign of those needed to come to pass August 19th of 1985. So over that 8-year span, nothing was done even though they knew in 1977. Another incident occurred in 1981 after the flight of the second shuttle mission. Examination of the booster filled joints revealed that the O-rings were eroding during flight. During the flight, they were eroding. Yet, nothing was done, even though the O-ring material was being eaten away by hot gases. Another one occurred the night before. Temperatures for the following day were projected to be in the low 20s. I know this doesn't sound like a big deal, but the O-rings and the shuttle had never been tested in that temperature before. They didn't know how they were going to react, yet they still went through with it. To make matters worse, the morning of, the temperatures were a record low of only 8 degrees Fahrenheit throughout the night. They had installed hoses and all sorts of safety measures to do all they possibly could, and because of the accumulated water, it actually caused freezing on the platforms. If that was not a red flag, I don't know what is. Like, they had already discussed that they can't have this ice there, because during takeoff they were worried that the ice tiles would actually fall down and damage the shuttle. So that's the morning of. I'm trying to keep a timeline going. Now the day of, there were 2 really big delays. The first one came from the weather. The Challenger mission was delayed because of weather front expected to move into the area, bringing rain and additional cold temperatures. Again, things they wouldn't be able to manage with because they had been untested in this weather. The second delay of that day was caused by a defective micro switch in the hatch locking mechanism. By the time these problems had been sorted out, there was a brief window where they could have launched, but after that point, all the winds had moved in, and it appeared to be a record-setting low temperature in the state of Florida. These are just a few of the examples that led up to the tragedy on January 25th of 1986. It's really sad to see ways that management overlooked these flaws in an effort to be champion. During that time, it was a big space race with not even just the US, all across the world, countries were trying to compete to be the number one. But the real question needs to be asked, is it really worth skipping these essential structural flaws for a victory? The answer is no. Even though they worked really hard, they got the shuttle prepared, there were a list of things that they needed to improve on before the launch was ready. I really think of the phrase quantity over quality. They were trying to push out as many shuttles as possible, trying to find one that was efficient without really focusing on the quality of the machine. I believe that if upper management had taken a step back, not been as prideful, they really would have been able to save the lives of those 7 astronauts.